everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's news video and our hideout guide, if you will, for our daily updates. A couple small changes over the weekend that we haven't talked about yet. First of which is two of the Scav bosses getting upgraded. Reshala got bumped from 33 to 36%, and Killa has been buffed from 33 all the way to 40%. So you'll be running into them a little bit more often on your raids, especially Killa, which is kind of terrifying now that he can spawn anywhere in the mall. We also got a leak from Nikita on his Instagram showing this fancy dancy OFZ shell here. But what's most interesting is the backdrop. This is a map that I don't know of anybody that recognizes it or knows what it is. So is this Lighthouse? Is this our first sneak peek at Lighthouse? I think so. Well, it remains to be seen. I'm sure we'll see something here in the, if not the coming days, the coming weeks, a preview of Lighthouse, just based on what Nikita said on the last couple of podcasts, which that'll be cool. It'll be nice to see what that map looks like. On top of that, there was another change to the loot, courtesy of Logic as always. We got buffs to power banks, the TP200 dynamite sticks, whatever you want to call them, C4, the 5-liter propane tanks, and for some reason water filters, which is weird because I felt like you were finding a bunch of these anyways. Now you're going to find a bunch more. Now to recap a little bit from last week, for those that weren't around or didn't see the updates, go check out my previous videos if you want a little bit more in depth on these things, but we'll just kind of blow through the bullet points here real quick. So dynamic loot is being implemented. So you're going to see huge changes in where loot is, spawn rates, what spawns where, and what doesn't spawn. It's going to take you off guard if you haven't experienced it yet. And they're continually changing it. As we already discussed, they made some more changes to loot spawns. There's new tasks from Fence to give you +1 Scav Karma, but rumor is this could be ending soon. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you get out there and take advantage of it. Currently, if you're below 0, that means if you have negative 0.01 or lower, you will be kill on sight for AI Scavs. Will this end with the Scav Karma event? I don't know. Is it's going to stay? Just remains to be seen, but that is how it is right now. They also fixed a bug, if you will, or at least changed how damage is calculated on black limbs. So you're going to see a lot more damage from outside of armor hits than you have in the past. And I've started to notice it. I feel like whenever you get smacked by a bunch of rounds in one location, if you're still alive, you're hurting pretty bad. And then lastly, on the podcast, the community podcast, Nikita live on the podcast right there raised the GPU spawn rate. He said he raised it from 0.06 to 1.3, which is a 116% increase. But what that actually means, we don't know. We don't know if that actually increased the spawn rate by 116% exactly. All we know is they increased it. We just don't know how by much. But that pretty much wraps up what happened last week and what's going on now. So let's get right into the economy and the crafting stuff. All right, as usual, courtesy of TarkovMarket.com, we'll look at stuff kind of in the middle of the road here, things you might be passing up, things that you need to be paying attention to. First off, just keep in mind that things that are sourced from labs and reserve, for the most part, have seen their prices go through the roof. There's a lot of explanations for this. There's a lot of theories. Mine has to do with loot in rooms versus loot open world and loot in containers and things like that. But nonetheless, just you can see it in the charts. So for example, here with Golden Stars, as you can see, the 3rd, that is the date that I have highlighted right here. This is where we saw the huge swing in changes. And you don't just see it on Golden Stars. You can see it with Vaselines, as well as with military power cables and military power filters and many other items. But you can see it right here on the 3rd. All of these things spiked up. And regardless of what people want to say about what's changing and what's not, the market's going to indicate what is changing, what's available, what's not, just out of supply and demand. Now, to talk about a couple things in the market, I think you should be looting, not just looting, but being careful about what you sell at prices for. So today I'm going to talk about items that have really wild price swings. So you might pick one up and see it for sale at 9,000 rubles 1 minute, and then the next minute's at 15,000. So I want to bring that list up so you know what you should list things higher for, or items that should be listed higher than generally what you might see them on the market, just so you're making a little bit more money out of your rates. All right, so the first of these is metal cutting scissors, and we've seen these go all over the place. You'll see them sell for as cheap as 18, 19,000 for a 2-slot. That's not great. It's not bad, but very often they spike well above 28, even push 30, 35. It doesn't show it on the chart here because it happens so fast, but I've definitely sold piles of scissors for 30, 35, especially at the end of the night when most people are getting ready to get off and people are buying them up to start their crafts on their grenade boxes and their Lucky Scav junk boxes and things like that. Now for printed circuit boards, this kind of goes the same way. You see them spike all the way up to 17, 18, 19K, and sometimes they sell for less than 9. So it's one of these another ones that you don't want to just sell whatever you see them at unless you're catching them on that higher end, in which case sell them as fast as you can. Now, I want to just talk about Saline Solutions real quick because they're one that kind of caught me off guard. They've pulled back way back in price to the point now there might even be an item you might want to throw out if you find better loot. So I just wanted to point them out, make sure that if you're getting these things, you are cautious that they're not always worth as much as they were, you know, a week ago or 2 weeks ago or even a month ago. Now, pack of nails are kind of a weird one. These are valuable for a couple things in the hideout, but that isn't pushing it now. It's mostly for sick case barters. So when somebody goes to buy a sick case, they need to buy a lot of these. So what you'll see is they'll be 5, 6, 7,000 rubles. Somebody, 1 or 2 players will come in at the same time and do a sick case trade, and it'll push them all the way up to 15, 16, 17,000. So what I do with my nails is I wait till I get like 10 of them. And then I'll list them for about 13 or 14,000, and they usually sell pretty quick because somebody who's trying to do that barter is looking for that bigger stack, so they don't have to go through one at a time and buy them, and you're just kind of taking advantage of that opportunity. Now with soap, don't drop the soap. Always hang on to the scope. Never drop it, especially if you're in the bathroom in dorms. Kind of a scary place to drop soap, but nonetheless, you could always get 16, 17, 18K out of these things, and continually I do. You just got to hang on to them and sell them in bigger stacks and be willing to let them sit up there for an hour or two, and you'll make a lot of money on them. So soap, great for cleaning yourself and making a little bit of money off of. Now, propane tanks, which have a tenuous history with these things. We've seen them come back and get a lot cheaper. When they're cheap, I use them to barter for fuel with proper. Gets it really cheap that way. But then when I have them found in raid, I always sell them for about 48, 50K. I'll wait till I get 5 or 6 of them, list them like that, and let them sit. And you'll sell that way usually about once a day. So they're an item I'll wait towards the end of the day when I'm logging off, and that's one of the ones I'll list and let sit overnight. Now, pile of meds. This is one I want to talk about a little bit more for you guys, simply because I get asked a ton about this. It's one of the big crafts for the med station, but you also find them and you pick them up in raid. Right now, they're not worth a ton. You'll see them go down to about 7,500, 8,000, but then come all the way back up to about 95, 98, 9,900 rubles for price right now. Now, this is a product of a couple of different things going on, just things within the crafting side of the economy, things with the changes in loot. It's all having pressure on pile of meds right now, but I believe we're going to see them come back up. The biggest pressure for pile of meds price is sugar. And because everybody's looting more and finding more sugar, they're looting outside of the marked rooms and, you know, outside of locked rooms and stuff, and they tend to find more sugar that way. And at least that's what I think. You've seen sugar get cheaper. So because sugar's gotten cheaper, you're seeing pile of meds get cheaper. Now, we had this nice little spike here, and this was all because of sugar. It was 1/6 the price of sugar. We saw them hit 12, 13K. This will happen again, guys. I promise you. We're going to see sugar start to make its climb back up. It might be a few weeks. It might be another 2 weeks. I don't know. We will see sugar make that run on 65, 70, 80K again, which case pile of meds will follow up. I am not sitting on pile of meds anymore. If I get them, I list them for about 9,500 and I just move on. Okay, little loot spot, but if you guys are crafting them in big batches, just keep that in mind. You're going to be sitting on them for probably a little while before you can sell them for that 12K range if you're waiting again. Okay, on to crafting. Here's our top crafts today. In the hideout, you have capacitors, the Lucky Scav junk box, super water, AI2s. Yes, AI2s, cheeses, intelligence. Now, energy drinks lose you the less, and right now it's showing you lose money on moonshine. But I want to show you something here real quick. This is with my progress in the hideout. That's what the difference between these two tabs are. I have level 3 intel center and some hideout skills and everything that reduce my flea market fee, and you can see how big of an effect this can have on what is happening inside your hideout as far as what you're making money with. And right here you see the nutrition unit. I could actually technically make money on whiskey right now pretty easily if I wanted to, because I have that level 3 intel and higher hideout skills. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about those things, that they are valuable. They can change the way the game plays for you. Now, moonshine right now here shows as a loss, but I almost always get my moonshine cheaper than 60,000. I'm usually around 55 with my barters, and bringing it out of raid versus selling it and not having the flea market fee, that kind of stuff. That's usually where I'm at with making my moonshine, and then I sell my moonshine for a little bit higher. It's still a break-even proposition, but it's great for leveling up your flea market rating. Now, over at the workbench, we'll dive in a little bit deeper, talk about a couple of things, specifics. Not much has changed. Again, your capacitors, you're doing good if you're getting about 18,000 on your PSUs and you're selling your capacitors for over 8,000. I always shop for screwdrivers around 6,500. You do what works for you. Power cords, get these under 12K, get them 11K, 10K, which is definitely doable. Sell your wires for 7,000 or greater. You're going to be making okay money. The easy craft, the one that I've been doing more and more lately just because of how easy it is the green gunpowder craft. buy your M67s from Proper. Once you get Spot Tour Part 2 done, your RGD 20B or 2Bs, your smoke grenades from Proper, and then craft a green gunpowder. And easy as pie, easy money. The magnets have lost a little bit of their value over the last week. They're still okay to make, especially if you're getting your hard drives cheaper. You get lucky sometimes and you'll see hard drives. We'll go look at it right now. You'll see hard drives dip down into this like 10K range. If you see that, snatch them up, because you're going to make a ton of money on magnets if you do that. I mean, you can see how drastic this is. If I change this down to 10,000 on your magnets, you know, now you're making 23K an hour. It's the best craft. So that's a big thing to do. Look out for hard drives less than 10K, and you're going to be doing pretty good there. You've got your circuit board craft, which is one that I'm doing just to help level up. It's quick, it's easy. Shoot for 7,000 on your DVDs and 9,000 on your screwdrivers. Sell your circuit boards for 12 or 13, and you're golden there. And then lastly, the biggest craft you should do at the end of the night, if you're looking for long-term craft, is BP. This will make you the single most profit per craft right now. It still is the case, especially if you can get your sniper gunpowder for a little bit cheaper and you are patient with your BP and sell it for a little bit higher. Because BP, even though it says 936 here, you see it push 1,000 rubles almost every night at different parts of the day, but most every night it'll push 1,000. You can squeeze out that little bit extra money out of your bullets. Over at the Lavatory, right now the best craft is technically a Lucky Scav junk box, but it takes a while. I don't like that because I'm trying to level up my hideout skill, but if that works for you, by all means do it. I am doing scav vests. I'm bartering slickers with Jaeger, 3 of those, making ripstop, as well as shampoo out of drink water bottles, or using the sling craft, because you can buy these slings off of Ragman and simply easy craft, cycle between these and make a little bit of money, but level up your hideout skill a little bit faster. I do craft grenade boxes about every 3rd day or 4th day, whatever it takes for me to burn through 2 metal fuel cans. This is what I'm doing with my empty metal fuel cans, is crafting these. So I'm always looking for bolts and nuts cheap on the market. You know, when the bolts get down into that 15, 13, 14K range, I'll buy up a bunch of them just so I have them so I can do these crafts. Same thing with screw nuts. Metal scissors and wrenches don't spike too much. So you can usually get those at a fair price, and then you just use your empty metal fuel cans and you make a decent little bit of profit on your grenade case, but you also put your fuel cans to use and can raise your flea market rating even more. Okay, over at the med station, we have AI2s as the top profitable craft right now, which is weird, but it's because meds have gotten cheaper. Augmentins have pulled back. Everything else is doing okay. This is what I do. I cycle between AI2s and meds, occasionally make a Propital. We'll talk about that in a second, but these are great for leveling your hideout. They're not going to make you a ton of money, but that's not the point. You're trying to get those hideout skills up that have so many more broad-reaching effects on how you make money and how much utility you get out of your hideout. That is where you're doing here, but still able to make a little bit of money and keep your hideout running. Your defib is your long craft. You know, it's basically a break-even, small profit. Kind of depends on what your component's at. But this is what I do when I go to log off. I'll make a defib. I'm saving mine up now for the potential barter of a thick case. I got to find some more LEDXs and stuff. I don't want to buy those unless they get cheaper, which they haven't. They're one of those items that got way more expensive on the 3rd as well. And that is my plan. What you want to do, sell these, do whatever you need to do. It's good. Now, for Propitals, the reason I bring this up is because of how I look at them. I use my golden stars, so I get 1 or 2 out of 10, and then I turn them into Propitals. I buy everything else, and what that does is it essentially covers the cost of the golden star. So your golden stars are 0 cost. You can do this even further and use your ibuprofens and same and actually make a little bit of money off your Propitals, but that's just where I'm at. I take my golden stars, craft them into Propitals, sell the Propitals, buy another golden star, and it's a cycle that I'll do all wipe, and it allows me to use the arguably one of the best meds in the game, pain meds in the game, and not have to spend a fortune, because as you can see, golden stars have gotten really, really expensive here. So that's just one little tip that I use that hopefully is useful for you. At the Intel Center, not much has changed from last week. I'm cycling between Intel and flash drives because they both make money. It's the 2 fastest crafts in the Intel Center for those points. And you can make more doing the VPX. If you're somebody that doesn't want to craft, you just want to hit a button and forget about it, the VPX is great for that because it's going to make you pretty much the same amount as Intel, but you only have to do it once every like 2.5, 3 days. Now, the last thing we'll discuss is the nutrition unit. Again, sad face here, nothing to really make money off of. You know, if you get out of raid, you die, you have a chocolate or something in your secure container, this is where you're going to use it because that's where you get the most for bang for your buck. But aside from making whiskeys and vodkas to help with your barter for a thick case, or just cycling between Willistons and Slickers like I am to help level up hideout skill but still get a little bit utility out of them, there's not much to do here. If you don't have a bunch of money, I would suggest not crafting anything out of this unless you need it for a task. All right, well, that wraps everything up. I appreciate everybody hanging out, watching the video. I hope this is useful. I hope it was helpful for you guys. Shout out to the Patreons, as you always. Those guys are huge supporters of the channel, and so are all you guys that watch the videos, especially if you watch all the way through and you're listening to me jibber jabber right now. So thank you, truly, thank you for watching the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.